let's get my sound volume under control here. And looks like everything is up and running. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games and I illustrate them, and we are creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The Forge of the Artificer just released by Wizards of the Coast for 5e 2024 rules on the DMsGuild for non-subscribed people like myself. So, oh hey, what's going on, man? Let's shine on World Shaper. What's up? Welcome to the mix. So yeah, Forge of the Artificer for Dungeons & Dragons just got released. I'm a big Dungeons & Dragons Magic the Gathering crossover enthusiast, so we're going to convert the Artificer with the new Artificer rules to the color mana paradigm. So this is the document that we're using right now. This is the playtest document that we're using to update all of the color mana material that we've published. We actually have the full set here on the DMsGuild already. It's a bundle with a pretty significant discount, but all the books have free previews. So you can check out the revised color mana spell list here that basically runs through how color mana in Dungeons & Dragons can work using the 5e game system. The aesthetics of it is to replace the 8 schools of magic and the Vancian spell slots in exchange for the 5 color magic paradigm that is in the Magic the Gathering card game, which is also owned by Wizards of the Coast. Wizards has created 4 settings now for Magic the Gathering. Ravnica was first, then came Theros, Strixhaven, and now we have Lorwyn, which just got released last month. So there's more and more RPG content being released from Wizards slowly over time, but their design philosophy in 5e is don't create new stuff, curve it back to things that already exist, so we're not breaking and spreading the base too much. So when they came out with Magic the Gathering settings, they created, like, say, Izzet, the Izzet Guild in Ravnica, but instead of being involved or caring about, like, it's a blue-red school, or it's a blue-red guild, and they didn't go into color mechanics. Instead, they just had us use the normal Vancian spell slots and 8 school of magic, looking at Ravnica or Strixhaven or Theros through the lens system that is famous in Dungeons & Dragons. But that was a disappointment. So that's what got me working. We published this back in 2018. We've ran 2 full campaigns from level 1 to 20 using the color mana system, and I ran a number of smaller vignette campaigns, and I've been getting feedback from the community that they've been using and enjoying it as well. So I am proud and honored to be able to create this system. But this is the free preview for the revised color magic system. Initially, when we built the system, each spell was devoted to only 1 color. But as we continued playing the game, we wanted to have more color identities, so it'd be easier for us to be able to get the color pool with the color that we want for our mana to be able to cast the spells that we want. So there's 5 colors in Magic the Gathering: white, blue, black, red, green. This isn't an exhaustive list, but these are some examples of different keywords, mechanics, and ideas that exist inside the D&D game engine that would be expressed in different colors. And these are always up for debate, and I'm always happy to revise and improve upon it as my understanding of the color pie deepens. But you'll see some parallels, like healing is generally in Magic the Gathering both white and green magic. So we have that represented here, but like soul magic and spirits are black and green, but also divinity and white. These are all colors that kind of float around the idea of resurrection-ish. So when we look at these different aspects, that's one of the guidelines that determines what colors is a spell naturally devoted to. And then we have damage types in D&D. There's 10 types of magical or exotic damage types. Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage, that's all colorless. You know, if you have an effect that can boost damage or something on these, they aren't related to any particular color. Hey, Steve, it's good to see you. But the magical or exotic damage types, there's 10 of them in D&D. Again, we have white, blue, black, red, green, and then acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, necrotic, poison. This color breakdown generally aligns with what we see on Magic cards with a little creativity. Like Acid in MTG is almost always black and green, as is Poison, almost always black and green. Radiant effects are naturally white. Psychic shit, white, blue, and black is pretty natural. Thunder damage being blue, red, and green, while lightning and fire are strictly red. There's MTG cards of cold-based things that are generally white, blue, and green. So this is a really, probably like 85-90% properly aligned from MTG translated into damage types by color into the D&D game engine. So if we take these different aspects and descriptions of what each color generally represents, and these types of pretty consistently acknowledged colors per damage type, we then come up with the 5-color Magic spell list. This is still 2014. In the new year, once we finish our Eberron adventure that we've been working on Monday through Friday in the mornings, doing the artwork for that, once that publishes on the DMsGuild, this project slats forward and we'll start translating this into the 5e 2024 rules. And this is the master document, the Color Mana and Martial Powers playtest content, which again is linked right here. So you can see here with the colors, like Acid Splash. It's a cantrip. It doesn't actually cost any mana, but it has a color identity of black and green. Chill Touch is a necromancy spell, not a cold damage spell. So it's necrotic damage, sorry. So that does black, that's black magic, not white, blue, and green like cold would be. Confusing, I know. Hey, what's up? I used to love Magic. The worlds they created, the philosophies of 5 colors, the game itself. It's an exquisite game. And the depth of it is so deep. And it's such a great pairing with the 5e game engine. I love depicting characters in the color magic paradigm and using color mana spell points to be creative with how we can build multi-class characters together in D&D. Just to close this out, so when you have a mana pool, say you've got 40 mana in your mana pool, like you're like an 11th level wizard would have 40 mana in the mana pool. Each level of spell costs 1 point of mana. So a first level spell is 1, a 9th level spell is 9, etc. And when you cast that spell, you would then, like, say, for Bless is a white spell. It's first level. If you're using color magic, if you're just using descriptive magic, then you're just going to have a mana pool of 40 mana. And it doesn't matter what colors they are. It's just when you cast the spell, you describe it in the color that you want to use. It's a very loose system, and you can do that with spell slots, which many people already do that aren't aware of the system. If I'm playing an Izzet character, I could say cast Bless and describe it as blue and red magic, even though it's not actually listed as it here, because if you're just being descriptive, mechanics don't really matter. If you're using a strict magic system or a hard magic system, then when you have your mana pool, you'll devote each point of mana to a specific color. So my Izzet character wouldn't normally have any white mana. I'd only have blue and red mana. So Bless, I couldn't cast Bless unless I could figure out how to get Bless into my repertoire as a blue or red spell. So I could take downtime activity, go to my guild, and depending on how much renown I have in my guild, or in Strixhaven, how many credits I have in my college, I can then go into the archives and scriptorums and research those spells for free as a guild benefit, just time served. So if it takes me, say, a week to research a white spell, then after a week, I could then cast Bless, not as a white spell, but I can choose either as blue or red. We'll also look at bonus spells when we get down into the Artificer later. But alternatively, if I don't have time to sculpt my spells in research downtime, I could, if I needed to, prepare it on the fly. So I could prepare a spell, and then I could prepare it a second time, first as a white spell, and then a second time in the specific color that I want. That's something that would definitely benefit clerics, druids, and wizards far more than would benefit the other casters, because everyone else is supposed to only be able to change their spells when they gain a level. So that's a long-term, harsh lesson. So, or harsh penalty for spell casting. So you can loosen that up if you want and allow them to change one spell per day. Or if they're changing colors with a new spell, then swap out 2 of them, because it's going to take 2 prepped slots for one spell in the color that you want. So you can reduce the amount of spells available to you, but become mono blue and just cast all your spells as blue. If you wanted to, or if you just want to stay narrative with a descriptive magic only, then you have your mana pool. You'll spend 1 point for Bless, and you just describe how it is. You could also only allow them, even though you're not specifically keying points of mana to a specific color, you could say you can only prepare spells colors that you're devoted to. So, like, even though you can use any mana to cast Bless, if it's not built as a blue or red spell, your Zet character wouldn't be able to cast it, even though your mana doesn't have any colors. So you have like those 3 different gears of intensity or of strictness in the magic system, and it works with all 3 of them. As a DM, you can always describe NPCs and monsters with the strictest magic, because monsters and NPCs generally don't have a mana pool anyway. So it's technically a second gear, the middle road, where all the magic that NPC is going to cast is going to be a combination of blue and or red, while the Azorius character is going to be casting stuff of white and blue, and then obviously those 2 get along inside that blue influence space. And so with the strictest magic, if I run out of white mana, I can't cast Bless anymore until I get white mana back into my mana pool. Whenever I regain mana, whenever I finish a rest, whether I get mana back or not, any mana that remains in my mana pool, I can change the color of all of it. I can redevote that color, that mana, to any colors that I want. So if I had 40 mana as a wizard and only 1 point of it was white and the rest was blue, I cast Bless, I'm out of white magic. I have 39 points left. I take a short rest, and when I finish the short rest, I'm going to reconfigure it so I have 19 in white and 20 in blue, and there you go. So those are the ways that you can just easily, it doesn't take a lot, very simple mechanics to be able to convert the MTG system into the D&D game space. But that also lets us do a lot of other stuff. Before I walk away, the way that it works with a higher level spell like Fireball, for instance, is a classic red spell. It's 3 mana, so I have to spend 3 mana, and if I'm using strict magic or hard magic system of each point is devoted to a color, only 1 has to be devoted to red. So 3 mana, 1 has to be red, and then I can toss my Fireball. Bob's your uncle. Super easy. So that's how the system works. There's a whole bunch of books that are already built out for this, all using 2014. When we update these books starting next year for the 2024 rules, we're just going to be updating these books. So if you get them now because you think it's cool and you want to support the effort, God bless you. You can, once the books are released, you can come back, you can re-download the updated version for free. We're going to be changing the format, the art, all of it. Let's see. Yeah, so that's the rough rundown. But since we're converting everything to the new color, to new mechanics in 2024, let's go spend some time with the Artificer. So I already have the Artificer queued up here, and we have the Forge of the Artificer freshly purchased off the DMsGuild, D&D Beyond. And I'm going to bump that there into its own window. I'm going to bump this here into its own window, just to slide that down and keep it separated. Hey, what's up? What am I missing? What color would you say you are? Oh, I'm an Azet guy for sure. Blue-red, I think outside of the box a lot. I look at the world like 15 degrees off of center, so I'm always looking at angles and different things, how to, like, people standing in line. I'm that guy that gets out of line and realizes everyone's parked behind, is like waiting in line behind a parked car. I'm the guy that sticks his head out and takes a look and then realizes I'm in line, and I just pull out and drive away. I take mechanical systems and I rebuild them to, like with this, to be able to have a better ludonarrative mechanic. I like finding and creating creative solutions, and I like finding ways to synergize and connect so that people have more reasons to align with each other and see each other eye to eye. Those both feel like blue and red ideas to me. Although that certainly emphasizes a lot of community. Maybe I have some green patched in there somewhere. No, that'd be white. Maybe I have some white patched in. But who's to say, right? We're all 5 colors, but I think I identify most personally with blue red for sure. Okay, so this is how the system works. All the full casters can use long rest mana, but for this version, we are rebuilding the Artificer to be a short rest caster. So that means that we gain 1 mana per level, and we regain that mana when we take a short rest. We also have the ability to utilize our action economy using the martial power system, which is an alternate magic rogues, as well as artificers and warlocks to have a magic system that isn't spellcasting. So like if you wanted to have a martial character, like more not spellcaster, but still have mana, so all the classes in D&D martial powers, which is basically a 5th edition update from the 3rd edition Book of Nine Swords, which created martial powers that ranked from level 1 to 9 that martial characters could take, like spellcasting. I'm just taking that idea, changing everything around to be a little bit more magic flavored, using the mana system that we've developed for MTG, and then make that so like you can, like if you're multi-classing, regardless of what class you're taking, you're always adding at least a little bit of mana into your mana pool. Full casters generally use long rest, while half and martial characters use short rest mana. And all the short rest characters of half casters or whatever, they all use the same the same progression ladder. So it's 1 mana per level, regained on a short rest. We start with 4 prepared spells. We have a maximum level or rank of power at first level of 1. We know 2 cantrips, and we'll eventually start picking up plants when we have replicate items. We had rebuilt this class already using the Unearthed Arcana, but I don't actually know what they finalized in the actual Artificer rules. So I want to actually drop down into here and review the new class features that we have, and see if they still jive with what we have built, and then update it where it doesn't, and have a chance just to take a second look at shit. So, okay, so the Artificer, the way that we have it built, we have your plans progression, we have our magic item progression, like the actual number of magic items we can have create as an Artificer, our cantrips, our maximum spell level, which is the half casting progression, 1, 5, 9, 13, 17 for 1 through 5. Prepared spells, we start with 4 and eventually kick up to 15, which is a more aggressive start than the Artificer has here, going from 2 to 15. It ends the same. We just give you more up front. As a martial character, like with fighting styles and weapon masteries, those eat up slots. And as a martial character, as the Gish version of the Artificer, we give you access to fighting styles and weapon masteries to implement for your martial Artificer. So mana regained on a short rest. The martial power mechanics. Oops, wrong book. There we go. The martial power mechanics also has the option of, while you are in melee and in combat, there are 3 there. While you are actively in combat during initiative, you can generate temporary mana to expend on spellcasting and channeling power effects as martials by sacrificing action economy. So if you have attacks, when you take the attack action, each attack you sacrifice grants you 1 point of temporary mana. A bonus action, if you sacrifice your bonus action, depending on what level or what your max rank or spell level you can channel is. At first level, you can generate 1 point of temporary mana with a bonus action. At 9th level, it's 2, and at 17th, it's 3. And then if you sacrifice your reaction, you can generate 1 point of mana. So, and that mana stays on the stack until I begin my next turn. So like if I didn't want to do anything right now, I was holding off to use a reaction to hit somebody with a disintegrate spell maybe. When they move, I could sacrifice my, like if I'm an Artificer, well, I couldn't cast disintegrate as an Artificer. Let's say, I wanted to cast Hold Person, which is a 2nd level spell. And I wanted to hold off on doing that until somebody moves, right? That guy moves, I'm going to hit him with Hold Person. So I'm going to and say I get 1 attack as my attack action, and say we're level 5, and I don't get an extra attack as an Artificer. So I could spend my attack to generate a point of mana. I could sacrifice my bonus action to generate a point of mana, and then hold on to my reaction for when that guy moves. I now have 2 points of temporary mana on my stack. I can spend those 2 points to hit him with a Hold Person spell. Bam, there you go. And so it wouldn't actually take any mana out of my mana pool. So full casters can't do that. Full casters get long rest mana, which means they get a lot of mana. and most of them have a means of getting mana back on a short rest anyway, like maybe once per long rest, for instance. So the full casters don't need any help in casting spells, but the half casters fall behind the full casters so quickly. The easiest way for you to make to bridge the divide between the marshals and the casters is to give all the marshals the same amount of options, like being able to swap rest, to swap out abilities, to have this huge library of basically leveled feats that you can gain that you spend mana on to be able to generate. But since it's half casting, not full casting, the flash bang of the thing is like, while I'm still casting second level spells, you're casting as a wizard Fabricate, for instance. Like it doesn't even compare. When you're casting Polymorph or Teleportation Circle, I just got access to Fireball. Like the half casters fall behind. So to keep them in pace with the full casters is to let them, while in combat, spam their low level abilities to tempo with the large mana pool that the full casters can to crack off spells every round themselves. So it actually balances in time between the two, and most of the low level powers and spells, when you're only spending 1 mana on them, is not much better than a feat. Like what you would get from picking up a feat isn't really superior. So it's pretty well balanced when you have both of them pacing each other over the course of multiple days. So you have the ability to generate this action economy while you're in combat, so you can save your mana pool for when you're out of combat. So this short rest mana that we have here, we'll keep that when we're doing social and exploration encounters, and save all of our combat shit by sacrificing action economy. Or once we start gaining some levels, we can start ramping up our mana. Then we can start adding in more mana to ramp up or upcast the effects that we're utilizing. So that's a universal application that all these casters and all the characters in this martial mana and half caster system utilize. So we got channeling, which is channeling powers, which are martial things. We're not talking about that today. We'll look into those on another day. You can also look at my playlist for all the MTG D&D conversion, and you'll see hours of us creating and customizing and editing and playtesting these different mechanics to make sure that they work. But for now, we're focusing on spell casting specifically for the Artificer. We already talked about 1 point per level, blah, blah, blah. So let's look at the actual selection of stuff that the Artificer gets. Spellcasting, cantrips, prepared spells, got it. Tinker's Magic. So how did this end up? Where'd you go? I increased the size so I could read it, and then I lost. There we go. Within 5 feet yourself, choosing item. Okay, cool. So this is what we currently have with Tinker's Magic. This is from the last UA translation that we had done. Mending. You know the Mending cantrip without counting against the total number of cantrips that you know. And then Magical Crafting. As a magic action while holding Tinker's tools, you can create 1 item in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of yourself. You can choose an item from the adventuring gear list in the player's handbook that weighs up to 10 pounds, costs up to 2 gold pieces, and isn't consumable. For example, you can create a pole, which is 7 pounds and 5 copper pieces. You could create a lamp, which is 1 pound or 5 silver pieces. You could create manacles, which are 6 pounds and 2 gold pieces, and other similar items. The DM may allow additional items not on the list to be created. The item remains until you finish a long rest, at which point it vanishes. Now, you can use this feature a number of times equal to your channeling ability modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. And you can regain 1 use by expending 1 point of mana, no action required. If you have more items currently created than allowed, the oldest item vanishes as the new one is created. So we can do this a number of times equal to our channeling ability modifier, and the Artificer, we expand it to make it easier for multi-classing. So the 3 ability scores that you could choose to use is either dexterity, intelligence, or wisdom. Those allow you to synergize with martial characters that often use dexterity, like the monk, the rogue, the ranger. Those are maybe even the barbarian, not likely. Barbarian's probably going to be strength focused, but there's a good array of martial classes and half-casters that could align with having dexterity be their channeling class. So dexterity is allowed, intelligence is allowed by default, but it also aligns with the scion and the wizard, and then wisdom, of course, for cleric, druid, ranger. Yeah, so there you go. So you can choose one of those stats, especially if you're multi-classing. Think about it, but whichever one is best for you. Lean into that. It's the standard DC 8 plus proficiency bonus plus channeling ability bonus. But that channeling ability that you choose is how you're synchronizing how many times a day you can do stuff like Tinker's Magic. What does it say here? You can create. Oh wait, hold on. On remains the rest. You can use. Channeling ability modifier, right, minimum of once. So if we have a 16 in our dexterity and we're using dexterity as our channeling ability, then we'll have 3 uses of it. We'll get 1 back when we finish. What is it? We get them all back when we finish a long rest. And I could always spend a point of mana by expending 1 point of mana. Since I'm not creating a channel, since I'm not channeling a power or casting a spell, the temporary mana that we can generate with action economy doesn't go towards this. This would actually come out of our actual mana pool. Harness magic, that should be. Oh wait, so yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just if the item is less than 10 pounds and costs up to 2 gold pieces, you can go ahead and create it. You can have various items. It makes it very flexible. How did they change it? So, the Mending Cantrip, that didn't change. Magic action while holding Tinker Tools as a magic, right? You can create one item in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of yourself, choosing these items. All of these items, I know for a fact, cost less than 2 gold, that cost up to 2 gold pieces and way less than 10 pounds. Actually, let's check on Block and Tackle. That might be the exception. Block and Tackle, it's 1 gold pieces, weigh 5 pounds. See? Compliance. All these things will be compliant. Hunting Trap, that's a great one. 5 pounds, 25 pounds, and 5 gold pieces. So the DM could allow this if you pretty please Mother May-I'd. But normally we wouldn't initially have access to it. We will get access to it later, though. So keep an eye out for that. But so for the most part, this stuff is compliant. So yeah, I'll go ahead and eat crow there and not know for a fact. The Hunting Trap is the exception to that rule. Let's see, you can use this feature a number of times equals your intelligence modifier, maximum of 1, minimum of once, and regain all uses when you finish a long rest. But again, we allow you to expend mana if you want to gain more uses of it. Replicate item is what they have next. We also have replicate item. So let's look at their version first. You have learned arcane plans that you use to make magic items. Plans known. When you gain this feature, choose 4 plans to learn from the magic item plans. Plans known, 4. Here's some items they recommend. Whenever you gain an Artificer level, you can replace one of the plans you know with a new plan for which you qualify. You learn another plan as you choose. You learn another plan of your choice when you reach certain Artificer levels, as shown on the plans known column of the Artificer's features table. When you choose a plan to learn, you choose it from any magic item plans table for which you qualify. Your qualification is based on your Artificer level. And then we have, so how did we translate that? I know we've already made a change to that. Let's see how it stands currently. As a magic action while holding, oh no, that's the magical crafting. Replicate magic items, thank you. Oh, harness magic. I don't see that yet. Does that exist someplace? Let's go up instead of down. It'll probably be easier to find. Maybe it's part of the replicate magic item. Duration, spellcasting focus, magical plans. Drain magic item at level 6. Bonus action, you can touch a magic item within blah, and you can convert it into mana. Okay, yeah, it doesn't look like they're having harness magic. So what we have is, as a 1 minute ritual, you can harness magic from the environment, restoring an amount of mana equal to half your Artificer level, rounded up, minimum of 1. You can do so once, regaining this feature when you finish a long rest. This is the same as the Warlocks feature, the dark ritual that gives you mana back or spell slots in the game. This is to help balance out of game, so you only get 1 point of mana at first level, so we give you a means of generating additional mana outside of short rests, just so you can keep pace with the full casters. Replicate magic item. So now into magic item, we already talked about plans, and now we're looking at replicating an item. So here's all our stuff. And then we have creating an item. When you finish a long rest, you can create 1 or 2 different magic items if you have Tinker Tools in hand. Each item is based on one of the plans you know for the feature. If a created item requires attunement, you can attune yourself to it the instant you create it. If you decide to attune to the item later, you must do so using the normal process for attunement. I don't hear my music. I think it stopped. There we go. You can't have more when you reach certain artificial levels specified in the magic items column to the artificial features below, up above. The number of magic items you can create at the end of a long rest increases. Each item you create must be based on a different plan you know. You can't have more magic items from this feature than the number shown on the magic item column of the Artificer's features table for your level. If you try to exceed your maximum number of magic items for this feature, the oldest item vanishes and then the new item appears. Duration. A magic item created by this benefit functions as the normal magic item, except its magic isn't permanent. When you die, the magic item vanishes after 1d4 days. If you replace a plan you know with a new plan, any magic item created with the replaced plans immediately vanishes. If an item that you had created with this feature is a container, such as a bag of holding, and it vanishes, its content harmlessly appears in and around its space. And then you can use any wand or weapon created by this feature as a spellcasting focus in lieu of using a set of artisan tools. And then we have subclasses that allow you to reduce the time it takes to create magic items. And here's our list of magic items. It's a fairly limited list of stuff. Common magic items that aren't potions, scrolls, or cursed, basically not consumable or cursed. And then it's a list of stuff. And then at 6th level, we get another list of stuff. Looks like at 10th level, it's another list of stuff, and then we can make any uncommon wondrous item that isn't cursed. And then at 14th level, we can make a slew of stuff and rare wondrous items that aren't cursed. And then we move on to the next thing. So let's hold on real quick. Let's see, how had we processed it previously, and what do we need to change? We talked about plans. That's still good. We should have 2 magic items in the beginning. We do. And we should end with 8-6. Is that what happened up here? 8-6. Okay, cool. That's all remained the same. So let's get to the end. This is just a hodgepodge of stuff that they just arbitrarily picked out as appropriate. How did we handle it? Replicating an item. You can swiftly replicate 1 copy of any magic item that you know the plans for when you finish a long rest. You can replicate a number of items determined by your level as listed on the table below, or as up above. So attune to 3, 4, 5, 6. Items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plans 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at levels 2, 6, 10, 14, 18. Attunement. You can attune to a number of magic items. Blah blah blah. If an item is below, let's do that. No, I already have it listed. When you replicate, let's put a there. When you replicate a magic item, you can immediately attune to it when it is created. Otherwise, follow the normal rules for attunement. Blah. Okay, and then the following items are included on the list of magic items you can replicate starting at 2nd level. Mana crystals, which we have described down below, they're basically mana potions that you can create. Spell traps, which use the hunter's trap, but you enchant them with a spell effect that triggers when you pop the trap. If it's an AoE, it affects the area with the trap as the center point. And if it targets a specific creature or object, whatever triggers the trap is the target. And then empowered items and gear, which allows us to basically like add spells to abilities or like channel like the martial powers that we created. We can then imbue those into weapons as well. So we can basically create anything that uses martial powers or would be imbued with any kind of spell that we have access to. Spell traps, which can trigger off of any power or spells that we know. And then mana crystals, they store mana. So crafting an item as a downtime activity while in your bastion, you can use any magic item plans you know to create that item. Requiring 1 week of work in your bastion is of sufficient. So you can create anything within 1 week if your bastion is of sufficient rank to do so, which we talked about in the bastion system last night. If you want to go check that out, it's in my live stream list. You must retain knowledge of the plan for the full duration of crafting, and it requires attunement while crafting. Let's see. If you have more items currently created than allowed, the oldest item vanishes as a new one is created. Perfect. Let's see. Okay, so replicating an item. You can swiftly replicate 1 copy of any magic item that you know the plans for. So what does it say about plans? You start playing knowing 4 plans as listed in the Artificer's list in the Unearthed Arcana for set level 2 Artificers. So that was in the UA, so Artificer's list in the Forge of the Artificers for level 2 Artificers, and you learn additional plans at higher levels that as listed on the table below. You can change the known plan when you finish a long rest with any item your Artificer level qualifies for, period. Cut. Paste. The following items are included. There, that covers it. So we're still using the list. I'm not just going to copy the list, but there you go. Crafting an item, we just talked about that as a downtime activity. Level 3 is Artificer. Good enough. 4 feet. Choose a feat for which you qualify. 4, 8, 12, 16. The martial power system that we created for half casters and martial characters also allows you to prepare feats. And feats have different, you can learn different feats at different levels. So just to look at that real quick because it's fun. Origin feats and fighting styles. If you have access to martial powers, and all half casters and all martials do, the full casters don't. They have to multi-class into it. So, but all of them at first level, or when you gain first rank at first level, you can pick up any of these. Notice that the skilled feat isn't here. And fighting styles can also be picked up by all half casters and martials. And then when we get access to second rank powers at level 5, we get access to general feats. We can select these, but we don't get the ability score bonus that goes along with feats, but we also don't have to have any prerequisites other than being 5th level. You can normally get these feats at 4th level by expending your feat slot that you get at 4th level, and then get the stat gain that goes along with it, but we made this available for martial characters to be able to take as prepared powers, because some people don't want to fuck around with a mana pool. Great, here, have 15 extra feats. Now you can use your, as a fighter, say 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 19th level feats as stat gains. Well, the 19th level epic boon you wouldn't. But all those like 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16, all of those feats that the fighter gets, I can now spend specifically on ability score increases +2, because if I really want, say, if I really want to have crossbow expert, I could pick it up as a prepared power. I won't get the stat bonus with it, but I don't have to worry about any prerequisites. I can just pick up a crossbow, and because that's the magic that I have prepared, I know how to use crossbow expert. And so you can fill out all 15 powers that you get. You can just deck those all, I'm sure, if you wanted to. you could find 15 feats that you would like your character to take. You could also take weapon masteries. Those count towards these prepared. You could also deal specific types of damage. Starting at first level, you can choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison. Like if you hit somebody with an unarmed attack, or I hit you with my sword, instead of dealing bludgeoning or slashing damage, I could deal acid damage if I wanted to. And then starting at 5th level, the advanced damage types. Let's put here in parentheses first. Second. Level 5. Force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, thunder. Less things tend to have resistance and immunity to this type of damage compared to these types of damage. You could also, at basic, if you wanted for some reason to be able to pick up bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, but generally DMs kind of just let you fudge those. Like I could hit with the flat of the blade if I wanted to deal bludgeoning damage instead. I could poke you with the tip of the sword, even though it's not really built to do that. I could still do piercing damage. I could poke your eye out with my thumb. That'd be piercing damage. I could bite and tear, like if I'm a wolf, or if it could be piercing for the teeth sinking, or I could literally just slash you with my fingernails or with my teeth if I wanted to for slashing. And then of course I could always like headbutt you or punch you or kick you for bludgeoning damage if I wanted to. So those are some of the things that you can do with powers that you can pick up, so you can keep your feet towards increasing your stats, while the full casters don't get that advantage. So the full casters with all their spells, if they want to increase their stats, because they typically only need to increase one, they are going to have to sacrifice their ASI or coordinate the feats that they take at 4, 8, 12, 16. And then at final word here, for feats at 17th level, when you get access to 5th level spells or 5th rank powers, you have a small selection of epic boons that we can take. We don't have to be 19th level. We're not going to get a stat gain from them either, but they're like boon of dimensional travel is like you can Misty Step as a bonus action for free, I think is what it does. But we get it at 17th level. That's in-game sort of stuff. So it's a good use of your ability, and it's a very limited set. So it doesn't break anything. Magic item. Tinker. Let's keep looking. Magic item Tinker. Replicate magic items, features gaining the following options. Charge magic item. As a bonus action, you can touch a magic item within 5 feet of yourself that you created with replicate magic items, and that uses charges. You expend a level 1+ spell slot and recharge the item. The number of charges the item regains is equal to the level of spell slot expended. Charge magic item. As a bonus action, you can charge a magic item within 5 feet of yourself that you created with the replicate magic item feature that uses charges to restore charges in the item. You can restore 1 charge for an amount of mana as determined by the rarity of the magic item. Oh, that changed. Now it's universal. It's universal now. You can expend a level spell slot and recharge the item. The number of charges the item regains is equal to the level of spell slot expended. That's cool. You can restore 1 charge. 1 charge per for each point of mana expended. Up to your max channeling limit per. Is it bonus or is it a magic action? Yeah, per bonus action. An item can't have more charges than it had when replicated. Drain magic item. As a bonus action, you can touch a magic item within 5 feet of yourself that you created with replicate magic item and cause the item to vanish, converting its magical energy into a spell slot. The slot is, what level is this? 6. The slot is level 1 if it's a common item, 2 for uncommon or rare. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. Any spell slot you create with this feature vanishes when you finish a long rest. Yeah, common and common rare. As a bonus action, you can touch a magic item within 5 feet of yourself that you created with the replicate magic item feature and cause the item to vanish. When you do so, you regain mana. The amount is determined by the rarity of the magic item drained. 1, 2, 3. You can use this feature once, regain it when you finish a short or long rest. So you finish a long rest. Any spell slot you spent. Okay, we'll restrict it. I'm good with that. Doing a gut check here. Yeah, everything feels fine so far. Transmute magic. So obviously, if we're a first level character and we can create 2 magic items, we could create those magic items specifically to cash them out to be able to, sorry, there's noise going on in the background. As a bonus action, so we could cash those 2 magic items and in exchange convert them into mana that we put back in our mana pool. You can use this feature once. When you finish again, when you do so, you regain mana. The amount is determined by the magic item drained. And comma. And you can't recover, and you can't exceed the maximum amount of mana in your mana pool this way. Transmute magic. As a magic action, you can touch 1 magic item within 5 feet of yourself that you created with replicate magic item and transform it into a different magic item. The resulting item must be based on the magic item plans you know. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. As a bonus action, as a magic action, I'll fix that. Sure. As a magic action, you can touch a magic item you created using the replicate magic item and swap it for a different item that you also know the plans for. You can use this feature once, regain it when you finish a long rest, or expend 2 mana. No action required. And that is level 6. Cool. At level 6, we can have... no, it's level 10 we can have uncommon magic items, isn't it? Level 10, right. So at second level, we get common, which generates 1 point of mana each. And then I suspect Necklace of Adaption is uncommon. Yeah, uncommon. So by 6th level, we'll be able to generate 2 points of mana with each item that we cache. And at level 6, we have 3 magic items, so we can generate up to 6 mana with that. And we're going to get 8 mana on a short rest, times 2 is 16, plus 6, that's 24 mana at level 6. That's about pacing with where full casters are at. Let's go take a look real quick. Full casters 20. So yeah, we're actually able to, if we take 1 short rest and then a long rest, we're actually going to be able to outpace mana by cashing out all of our magic items at level 6. But one of the major features is to have a bunch of magic items. So you're sacrificing one thing for another. Perfectly fair. Oh, and plus the rest that we get would give us at 6th level. It'd give us another 2. So that'd be a total of 16. 24, 26 mana that we would have at 6th level as an Artificer. And then if we float over here, we have 20 as a full caster, and then using the short rest mechanism, we would get 6 back. So we would also have 26 as a, oh no, it's not 26, it's half that, it's 23. So yeah, the full caster actually gets a little bit more mana than the full caster does. That is, well, that's how it's built. Maybe we don't need to give you the minute-long ritual. I don't know. We have to sacrifice. If you don't want to sacrifice your items, then you're falling behind. It's kind of like with Lay on Hands of the Paladin. For every 5 hit points of damage that you sacrifice with Paladin's Lay on Hands, you can restore 1 point of mana. It gives you more mana, but it's destroying your ability to Lay on Hands and do stuff with that. So, you know, it's kind of 6 or a half dozen, one or the other. Let's see. I'll have to think on that. The generating mana has been really, really effective in the system so far, and that really opens it up. So the Artificer really has just more mana than anyone else in the game right now. Just crazy amounts of mana. Prior to that, it was the Paladin that really capped on the amount of mana. Like it was that and the Sorcerer. Paladin and Sorcerer were the top on mana generation. But with the sacrificing magic items, that's really kicking it up. Maybe we don't need to. No, I think I'm okay with that because we don't get that until 10th or 14th level. We get this at 6th. Get this at 2nd. First level, 2nd level spells for 2. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to be okay with that. Let's see. Okay, so Flash of Genius. I believe that's where we're at. Flash of Genius. When you or a creature that you see, I'm going to put a flag on this. Drain magic item. Let's add a comment. This is outpacing full caster mana. Is that okay? With the first level ritual. I'm going to say no. We're going to cancel this. So given what this has become, and we have the ability to generate mana, I think what I want to do is remove. I want to paint it black. Let's remove the harness magic. I don't think we need that because we're able to harness magic items. Maybe what we should do is have harnessing magic items come in sooner. Magical? No, because we can't craft magic items until 2nd level. I think the right thing to do then would be to drain magic items starting at 2nd level. That way we get that duplication effect. Either that or we get rid of draining magic items altogether. Okay, I'm going to add this back in. This is the process of game design. Should this exist with drain item at 6th? And should this exist with harness magic at 1st? Because I don't think both of them should be there. One of them needs to either go or we need to really nerf drain magic item. One of those has to go. They don't. It's too generous at higher levels, so we're gonna have to reconsider that. Flash of Genius. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you fails an ability check or a saving throw, you can take a reaction to add a bonus to the roll, potentially causing it to succeed. The bonus equals your intelligence modifier. You can take a reaction a number of times equals your intelligence modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Flash of Genius. When you or a creature, and it's equal to your intelligence modifier. When you or a creature within 30 feet of you fails an ability check or saving throw, you can use your reaction to grant the creature a bonus to the roll equal to the result of rolling 1 power die. And our characters at, what level do we get this? 7th level? A power die are the things that we roll. They're kind of like psionic dice or martial arts die or Battlemaster superiority dice or bardic inspiration dice. Starts with a D6. At 9 it becomes a D8 and eventually becomes a D10. So we changed this to, instead of being a flat bonus, intelligence bonus, we switched it to being adding a variable number. And I like that. I'm keeping that. That's a theme that has been throughout all of the system, and I want to retain that. Potentially churning your failure into success. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your channeling ability modifier. Minimum of once, like dexterity, for instance, is 16. That's 3 times per day. Regain all uses when you finish a long rest. In addition, when you expend, if you've expended all uses of this feature, you can expend 1 point of mana when you take the reaction to gain to grant this bonus once. You can take this reaction a number of times equal day. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Yes, I like expending mana to replicate, to perpetuate abilities. In addition, you've expended all uses of this feature. You can spend 1 point of mana when you take the reaction to grant the bonus once. Yes. So we can burn our entire mana pool just giving people buffs, kind of like what the Bard can do. The Bard has 80 mana at 20th level, and it costs the Bard 2 mana to provide a Bardic Inspiration die. But the Bardic Inspiration die goes from 6 to D12, while this goes from D6 to only D10. Let's see. And Bard gets us back on a short rest, so cheers to that. Magic Item Adept, Attunement. We're now looking at level 10. You can now attune up to 4 magic items at once. You can now attune to 4 up to. You can now attune up to 4 items instead of 3. Right tool for the job. They got rid of right tool for the job. So this is the level 10. So your magic crafting feature improves. You can now create any non-consumable item on the adventuring gear list that weighs up to 20 pounds and costs no more than 50 gold pieces, including any sets of tools or artisan tools. There you go. And then we have the spell storing item. I think the most controversial thing. This allows you at 11th level to get 10 third level spells if you want to cast. That converts into 30 mana in our game system. So let's look at how we play with this. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or one item that you can use as a spellcasting focus, and you store a spell in it, choosing a level 1, 2, or 3 Artificer spell that has a casting time of an action and doesn't require a material component that is consumed by the spell. You needn't have the spell prepared. Wow, you don't need to have the spell prepared. Jesus, okay. Artificer spell. While holding the object, a creature can take a magic item, a magic action to produce the spell's effect from it, using your spell casting ability modifier. If the spell requires concentration, the creature must concentrate once a creature has used the object to produce the spell's effect. The object can't be used this way again until the start of the creature's next turn. The spell stays in the object until it's been used a number of times, equal to twice your intelligence modifier, which could be twice, which would only be 6 mana. But by 10th level, you're probably going to have a 20 or 18 in your intelligence, which is going to translate into 8 or 10 castings of that third level spell, which is going to be anywhere from 24 to 30 mana, assuming that you don't want to use a first level spell slot. I mean, I could see somebody maybe using a shield, but compared to a third level spell, it's not likely that people are going to be invest that much in the shield. So that's how it works. This is what we had done previously. Mana storing item. When you finish a long rest, you can store 11 mana in a spellcasting focus, and you can increase the amount by 1 mana when you gain an additional Artificer level up to 20 mana at 20th level. While holding the focus, you can use a bonus action to give yourself or another creature within 5 feet an amount of mana up to the max channel limit you've gained as an Artificer. Creature cannot gain more mana this way than its maximum total of mana. When you finish a long rest, any unspent mana in the item is lost until you use this feature again. So instead of imbuing an item, because we can create imbued magic items if we want to, if the DM allows us to. So we don't necessarily have to have this item. I don't like the idea of having 10 uses of a spell to hand out to people. Instead, since all characters in the game are now using mana as their base resource with the martial power system, barbarians, fighters, everyone, we can now have basically like mox crystals and mana storage devices. So again, when you finish a long rest, you can store 11 mana at 11th level, and then upscales from there. If we look at the Warlock, the way that Warlock works is on a short rest to get 1 mana per level. You can cast spells at any level up to your maximum, like packed mana. For levels 1 to 5 spell, you can spend 1 mana to cast a first level spell. Even if you're 9th level, you can still just spend 1 mana to cast a first level spell. So at 9th level, you have 9 mana. You can cast a first level spell 9 times, just like a 9th level paladin could cast a first level spell 9 times. But then, starting at 11th level, we start getting Mystic Arcanum points for the Mystic Arcana. At 11th level, we have a 6th level spell. At 13th level, we have a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And then at 20th level, we end up having 40 mana. 6 for a 6th level spell. 6 plus 7 equals 13. So by 13th level, we have 13 mana. This Mystic Arcanum points can be spent to cast Pact Magic up to level 5. But Pact Magic can't. You can't spend Pact Magic to cast Arcanum spells. In the game system in general, temporary mana can only cast up to 5th level spells. Or half cast, like anything you get back on a short rest or you generate with temporary mana, you can only create up to 5th level spells. If you want to cast 6th level spells, you have to be at 11th level in a full casting class, and you have to have long rest mana. All the full casters have long rest mana pools and can cast up to 9th or up to 10th level spell slots using the system for 10 mana at 10th level. But like the Paladin caps at 5. But they also, with the system, get their mana back on a short rest. So if I were to be like a 5th level Paladin, 5th level Sorcerer, then I would have like, say, 11 mana in my mana pool for the Sorcerer, and I'd have 5 mana in the mana pool as a Paladin. I would have a total of 16 mana. I can get 5 back on a short rest. I can get 16 back on a long rest. That's how that divide works. It actually works really, really smoothly. So we reintroduce right tool for the job. We have the mana storing device that starts off stronger than where the Warlock is at, but ends up being in pace like the Paladin gets 100 points worth of 100 hit points of lay on hands by 20th level. And if we convert hit points into mana, for every 5 hit points, we can heal 1 point of mana, regain somebody's mana pool. So at 20th level, we can store up to 20 mana to ourselves or other people. With this device, it allows us to do that as well. So this isn't trying to pace off of what the Wizards of the Coast has produced. This is pacing off of what we already know works well for half-casters, giving mana to, like, healing other people's mana. So the Artificer and the Paladin are half-casters that can both heal other people's mana pools now. We could keep it for ourselves if we wanted to and really blow out our mana pool, or we could, like I said, give it to other people. While holding the device, you can use a bonus action to give yourself, and it has to be you that, since it's not a spell that anyone can use, it's just a mana battery. We have to touch them, just like the Paladin lay on hands has to touch somebody, and then they get that healing. Advanced Artifice. Magic Item Savant. It's now called Advanced Artifice. Magic Item Savant. Artifice. You can now attune up to 5 magic items, attunements, and then refresh Genius. When you finish a short rest, you regain 1 use of your Flash of Genius. you finish a short rest, you regain 1 expended use of your Flash of Genius ability feature. And Magic Item Master. Now tune up to 6 magic items at once instead of 5. And Epic Boon is as Epic Boon does. And then Soul of Artifice. You have developed a mystic connection to the magic items, so you can draw for your aid, Cheat Death, and Magical Guidance. Cheat Death, if you reduce your hit points to 0 but not killed outright, you can disintegrate any number of uncommon or rare magic items created by your replicate item feature. If you do so, your hit points items change to a number equal to 20 times the number of magic items disintegrated. Holy Hannah, okay. And then Magical Guidance. What is it called? Cheat Death. If you're reduced to 0 HP, but not killed outright, you can I'm gonna go with dismiss. You can dismiss any number of uncommon or rare magic items you've replicated. If you do so, you regain a number of HP equal 20 times number of items dismissed this way. And then Magical Guidance. When you finish a short rest, you regain all expended uses of Flash of Genius. When you finish a short rest, you regain all uses of your Flash of Genius feature. What? No, I'm not going to include that. I don't think that's necessary. Feature. I'm just going to give it to you. The bard doesn't have to be attuned to anything. Fuck off. And there we go. Okay, so that's our structure. The only question that we have right now is the ritual that we grant at the Harnessing Magic feature that we provide at level 1, which is really useful for having mana. Does that stack poorly with Drain Magic items? And I think it does. So I'm going to get rid of the Harness Magic. We're going to be okay with this one. And then we're going to go to Harness Magic items, and we're going to boop, get rid of you. There we go. Okay, cool. So that is the base chassis of the Artificer. Let's see. I normally do color mana mechanics on Saturday mornings. So this upcoming Saturday, we'll focus on the, we'll review and see if there's any changes needed to the subclasses, the 5 subclasses that they built for the Artificer, starting with the Armorer. We have all of them built out already, including the, so we have the, well, yeah, we have the Alchemist, the Armorer, no, the Animator, from the UA, yeah, Armorer, the, yeah, Alchemist, Armorer, Artillerist, Battlemaster, Battlesmith, and Cartographer. Yeah, here's the Reanimator, and then Cartographer. So we're going to push Reanimator UA. Let's do it this way. Okay, well, that's it for now, though. So that's the base scaffold for the Artificer. I like it. It gets a lot of fucking spell casting, a lot of mana. It's all low key. It's all ongoing burn. Whew, dilly, but it's good. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll be back. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning to do more Eberron art. I do Eberron art Monday through Fridays in the morning because we're publishing an adventure on DMsGuild for Eberron. So we're doing the artwork right now for that adventure. And once all the artwork is done, we'll start dropping it into the book and to the layouts, and then we'll publish it on DMsGuild. So I do artwork Monday through Friday in the morning. On Monday and Thursday night and Saturday morning, we do game design. So we'll be doing more Spelljammer, Eberron, Bastion campaign building on Thursday night. We'll be back Saturday morning to do the Artificer subclasses, and then we'll be back again on Monday, and then Monday night, and just et cetera, like last night. So if you thought this stuff was cool, thanks. Appreciate you guys being around. Thanks for checking into this. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. My Discord is down here. If you want to jump in and playtest stuff with me. Oh boy, a lot of people. Hi guys. Cheers. Here's my Discord channel right here, free access. Jump on in. If you're interested in playtesting this stuff as a DM or as a player, I'll be running in game. If you want to DM this stuff, awesome. Glad to have you. Here's a bunch of books that I've created on the DMsGuild already. Be welcome to check that stuff out. Like I've been showing, it all has free previews. It's all my art. So if you want to check out more of my artwork and my ideas, kick through those. If you want to buy some of them, God bless you, even more so. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow morning. So see you guys then. Cheers.